Hi, welcome to Facebook Live with TuckerAllen. We do this every Friday at 1 o'clock. If you're familiar with TuckerAllen, we're an estate and elder law firm. We work in Missouri and Illinois. We love educating and sharing this kind of information, and so we just pop on every Friday to start talking about basics of things and helping you learn. It can be an intimidating area for some people, and we just want to dispel that and help people know what's out there. So today we're going to talk about a real back to basics topic instead of some obscure topic about ways to distribute trust assets or something. We're going to talk about really fundamentals like, what do all these labels mean? Sometimes it's as basic as understanding the definitions of lots of words that you hear and over. And so today we're going to talk about the different roles that you can have in estate planning and what they each mean. So Kevin is here to talk to us today. He's our attorney in Independence. He works in the Kansas City area. He's going to kind of break down what these definitions mean and help us understand all these labels. So I've heard so many words, Kevin. I'm sure if you watch court TV or crime shows or whatever, or you hear a lot of these numbers, help us figure out what words go with which document, what means the same thing, who does which job. Help us break this down.
Sure. So just to start off with today, kind of the three main documents or type of documents that I'm going to talk about today are kind of trusts, then wills and pour over wills, and then your power of attorneys. So with that being said, I'm kind of going to dive into the trust.
Okay, that's good. Let's do them one at a time then. So let's start with trust. What words do we hear for people there?
Sure. So the words that we hear for people there are grantor, settler. Those are oftentimes words that we hear when we're talking about trusts. Anymore, it's almost always you're going to hear the term grantor. Settler was a word that was used quite a while ago. It's not really used anymore, but sometimes in old documents we'll still see those words. And they're the same person, the same meaning. Really what that is, it's just the person who is creating the trust. The grantor, settler, whenever you hear that, think of, okay, this is the person who owns the trust property. They are creating the trust.
So if I formed a trust, if my husband and I formed a trust, I'm the grantor.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Okay. And sometimes I hear there's different words for men or women depending on the endings. Grantor is just neutral, right? It just means.
Yep, grantor is neutral. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The next person we would have here within a trust is going to be our trustee or successor trustee. So what the trustee is they are the person that is named within the trust, and their role in the trust is to hold the trust assets. So a lot of times with the type of trust that I draft, the grantor and the trustee, while the grantor is still alive, they are oftentimes the same person. And then the successor trustee, they would be the person who would step in and take over that trustee role whenever the grantor either passed away or, became incapacitated for some reason.
So when I formed my trust, I'm my own trustee at the beginning because I'm still in control of my trust assets. But if I die, then it goes to whoever I said is my successor, right?
Yes. So that's oftentimes the case, right? There's lots of types of trusts, but for just a very common
for a plain revocable normal.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Are
there more names associated with trusts then?
Yep, there's one more person associated with the trust, and that's going to be the beneficiary. The beneficiary is going to be the person who they are to receive assets from the trust. So that would be like maybe a child who is inheriting money from the trust, or a charity that would be inheriting money from the trust. So that's what a beneficiary is.
So it can be a person or an organization. That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that when you mentioned charity. So it could be individuals or it could be organizations or institutions.
Yep, absolutely.
Good. So is that it for trust?
That's it for trusts.
Okay. Next document then. What are we going to talk about next?
Next, let's talk about wills. And then kind of with trust, we have pour over wills. Put a pour over will, though, really, it's a last will and testament, just like any other last will and testament. So we're just going to call them wills for the purposes here today. So within a will, we have the person who is creating the will, who is executing the will. They are either the testator or the testatrix. So in this one, there is a male and female version of
I remember hearing these. Okay, yeah.
So, but all that they are, just like in the trust, we have grantor, settler. Here we have testator, testatrix. They are the person creating the document, creating the will.
So we would never use grantor if we're talking about a will. Grantor is only used when we're talking about a trust, right?
Correct. Grantor is only for trust. So,
And you mentioned that settler is sort of an older word that really isn't in common use anymore. Is testator, testatrix still in common use, or is that kind of going out too?
nope, they are both commonly still used. It's
Okay.
just male, female versions of the word.
Okay. Any other words for a will?
Yes.
Any
So
other
then
roles?
the last role that we have within a will is someone who's called the personal representative or the executor of the estate. So those are two words. They are the same role. They mean the same thing. And what they are is this is a person or an organization sometimes that is nominated by the testator or testatrix to administer the will. So what their job is they're the person, or they have to go to the court. They have the relationship with the probate court, and they're the ones who are administering this will.
Right. Are those words both commonly used, or are they different for time periods or areas, or is they just totally interchangeable?
These I would say are more of that like very commonly used either way. We still see documents all the time that our documents we use personal representative, but lots of other documents still use executor.
And they're the same thing. Okay,
Yes.
good. So we've talked about trust, grantor or settler is the older name, trustees, beneficiaries. So I'm going to pass my quiz here, right? And then in wills, we talked about testator and testatrix, and either a personal representative or an executor.
Yes.
And then you said we're going to talk about powers of attorney. There's other names for those roles, right?
Yeah. So within power of attorney, we have we have a person who is the principal of this document. So with power of attorney, we're thinking like that durable power of attorney or healthcare power of attorney. Either
and
one
durable
of those
power of attorney is for financial stuff, right?
Yes.
Let's remind people of that. Okay.
So just within the power of attorneys, though, both of them, they have a principal. And who the principal is, that's the person who is creating the power of attorney. So as we work through this, I think you can start to see some like parallels here. There's always going to be a person who's creating the document. Some of the documents have people that are designated within it to kind of administer the document. So here, the person creating the document is called the principal. And then the next person, the last person here that we have to worry about within a power of attorney, this would be the agent or successor agent. And then sometimes they're also called the attorney in fact.
Okay. And what's the role of the agent? Those are the people that I'm giving power to in the power of attorney?
Yes. So what they are is they're being given power to handle matters, a variety of matters, kind of depending on the type of power of attorney for the principal. So, and within, there's guidelines, there's safety guards set up within the power of attorney to say, these are the powers in which the agent has the authority to act within.
What you're allowed to do and not do, right? Okay.
Yes, but that's the agent's role is to take action for the principal.
Yeah, and the whole point of a POA is if I can't do it for myself for whatever reason, someone else I'm delegating that authority to. So they're becoming my agent. That makes sense. So I can be the grantor and the testatrix and the principal, depending on which document we're talking about, right? I could have all of those labels for myself.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good. Keep going. Anything else to add?
Yes, I was just going to say, just like you could be the grantor, testatrix, principal for all of those documents, a lot of times in documents here, there's one person that, maybe my client really trusts, and they would like to have them be named. They would like them to be the trustee, the successor trustee, as well as the personal representative, as well as the, first agent on their power of attorney documents. And that's, sometimes people they might ask, oh, is this okay to have this person?
To have the same person in lots of roles. Yeah. Okay. And that's fine.
Absolutely. I think that that's great. If you have somebody, that is very trustworthy, that is going to make the right decisions and they're organized and they know what's going on, I think it's great. Let's make sure we give them the reins in a lot of places here. Make sure that they, can take matters and do things for you if need be. So I think that that's a great thing. If there is someone out there like that, then that's a perfect person to choose in multiple scenarios. Sure. And oftentimes too, I kind of tell my clients, right, I know we've talked about this before, whenever we get a trust, there's always going to be a pour over will that's with the trust, the pour over will, the safety net of the trust. Oftentimes I suggest to the clients, I say, hey, choosing the same person as your successor trustees as your personal representative makes a lot of sense because it's a very similar role. If you're going to be a good successor trustee, you'd probably be a good personal representative as well.
Right. That makes sense. Does it potentially create problems if I don't have the same person in different roles? Like, what if I want one person to make healthcare decisions, but I want someone else to make financial decisions for me? Is that risky for me, or is it just depending on my circumstances?
I would say that 100% depends on your circumstances. Sometimes people, maybe they have a son or daughter who works in the healthcare field in some manner. And, that person they are well versed in that
that's
world.
who I want talking to my doctors, right?
Exactly. So if somebody tells me, I have this daughter, she's a doctor, I would say, let's absolutely make her the healthcare power of attorney here. Or, maybe they have a son who works in some sort of financial realm. Then that's great. Let's make him the durable power of attorney. No problem splitting up the duties. It's just, let's choose the best person for each one.
Okay, so they can be the same or they can be different. I get to choose that, and there's really no pros and cons for that. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, this is helpful. You hear these terms thrown around, and if we get our head around what they all mean, we feel a little better informed. So thanks for taking the time to do that. We want to thank you all for joining us. Remember, if you have other questions, feel free to submit questions through our website or right now on the comment on this Facebook Live and pass them along to us. We'd love to tailor future content for something else you're interested in, or if you have questions that's never been really clear to you, we'd love to sort of clear that up and help you feel educated about that. If you want to visit any of our other webinars or podcasts or visit our YouTube page, go to our website. We've got loads of content on there, blog articles, webinars, short little videos you can watch. You can also make an appointment there if you want to talk with an attorney about something specific. And so we welcome you to do that. As always, if you've been with us much, you know the kind of the default disclaimer we have to give. This is not attorney-client relationship. This is just education. But we do love educating and hope that it was been useful to you. And that's it. So hope you all have a nice afternoon and a great weekend. We'll see you next Friday at 1 o'clock for TuckerAllen Facebook Live.